Welcome to the Science Fiction Rating System podcast with me, Chris Redding, and with Sam Draper.
Hello.
You right?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Good. And with Alex Humphreys.
Hello.
How are you, Alex?
I'm good. It's the day after Halloween. It's all sales day as far as I'm concerned.
Is it?
Yeah, it's my observance. I go around all the supermarkets and I buy all the Halloween stuff cheap.
Right, for next year.
Tip for anyone out there who wants to do that.
What if it gets cancelled?
What, Halloween?
Yeah.
It won't ever be cancelled. Why would Halloween be cancelled? Come on now.
I don't know.
I went to Sainsbury's this morning for that express purpose.
Yeah.
And to get some toilet roll.
It's all gone.
But nothing there. All the Christmas stuff was out, and all the Halloween stuff wasn't there at all or reduced to just vanished.
We have such a huge Sainsbury's that they still had some stuff, but they did tip me off. They said on Saturday everything would be 10p, so that's pretty nuts.
You think they'd just hold it until next year, wouldn't you?
Well, you think, yeah, no, you just want to get rid of it. But yeah, no, so it's been fun. I've been everywhere. TK Maxx, Sainsbury's. Where else did we go? Morrison's. I didn't do
Just
Asda's.
a pile of Halloween stuff now.
Yeah, I got a huge pile of Halloween stuff. Yeah, it's great. I love it.
Well, if you have a Halloween party this weekend rather than in the middle of the week.
That's what everyone in the shops kept saying. They're like, oh, you having a party? It's like, no, it's the next year. What are you talking about? Yeah, anyway.
There was someone on my road who had a bonfire in their front garden and was sat around it all night, like in costumes with the skeleton out. It's a bit extreme.
That's very
freezing
extreme.
their arse off.
Yeah, it was so cold last night. It must have been freezing.
Are they expecting to see something?
I don't know. There weren't many trick-or-treaters coming down the road or anything, so I don't know what they were.
I think I'm more about bonfires, more about Guy Fawkes.
Also, you wouldn't want to sit next to a bonfire in those Halloween costumes, because that's just asking for trouble, really, isn't it?
Crepe goes up.
That's what happened to Claudia Wincomb's daughter, isn't
it? Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, she got disfigured in a Halloween fire. Yeah, costume set on fire.
Yeah. Careful with that, folks.
Yes.
Down to business, I'm afraid.
Right.
We're talking about Danny Boyle's Sunshine this week. Yeah. You guys seen this?
Mm-hmm.
Was that a yes? Was that an affirmative or?
Yes, I have seen it. Yeah.
Okay.
I thought I'd seen it before.
Oh.
But I've seen some of it before. I don't think I've sat down and watched the whole thing all the way through before.
Oh, that's funny. So you remembered sections of it, or you remembered?
I think what it is, because when I was doing Chris's film, a lot of the temp music was from this film, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, the main sort of epic track on it, I temped on it. Yeah.
So I was like watching clips of it on YouTube and stuff. I think that's so. Yeah.
It's interesting.
Okay.
I saw this in the cinema, I think.
Oh.
I remember when it came out, all Danny Boyle sci-fi. I don't know whether it must have been after 28 Days Later and
2007 it came out.
Yeah. So we hadn't quite got to Slumdog and all that shit.
No.
So I'll pick it up with The Sun's Dead. Yeah. So we get a little setup read by Cillian Murphy. I quite like Cillian Murphy.
Yeah, I like Cillian Murphy. Yeah.
Sun's gone. Well, Sun's dying.
Yeah.
There's a spaceship, and they're on their way to drop a bomb in the sun to get it going again.
It's a good setup. I think from the off, you think that's a good idea. That's a good science fiction idea. I think.
Yeah. I think it's more plausible than The Core. Remember The Core?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
In a similar way that the remake of Total Recall, where they go through the middle of the planet rather than going to Mars.
Yeah.
Less plausible. So there's this massive ship, and they're heading towards the sun, and it gets hotter and hotter and hotter as they go to drop a bomb. And then we sort of see throughout the film, you've got like this warm glow, haven't you? Like, and it becomes more of a religious thing. We'll get onto that. But Cillian Murphy sends his last message home, basically, because of some technical reason. I don't know why. The sun's rays are cutting their ability to communicate with Earth. And there's also a dude who sort of hangs out in the observation lounge quite a bit and is becoming quite obsessed with the sun.
That's the he's the psychiatrist as well, isn't he?
Yeah, it's it's quite a cool room, that, isn't it, where you can just look at the sun.
I thought it was I didn't know it was an actual window. I thought it was like a video thing.
Oh, right.
Like a hologram thing.
No,
I didn't realise that.
Oh yeah,
it's a window. Yeah, there is a shot where they show like the window in the front surface of the shield, which doesn't make that much sense, right? Because if it's so technical, they need these mirrored shields on it. Why is there a window?
Yeah, no, it doesn't make much sense. It's a good ship design as well. It's like a big umbrella, isn't it?
It is, yeah. And anything that goes outside the shade of the umbrella gets burnt up. I think there's some things in this which are like scientifically crap, but some things which are quite cool, I guess. Some of it's quite realistic.
Do you know? I'm sure you do know, Chris, but you know why it was? It's so sciencey.
Oh yeah, because Brian Cox.
Yeah, he was an advisor on it.
Professor Brian Cox was involved in this, yeah.
And I read that people kind of slagged the film off and stuff, and he said, Sunshine is not a documentary. It's just it's trying to just, in an hour and 40 minutes, get across a feeling of what it's like, not only to be a scientist, because obviously there's much more in that than that. So I found it interesting to watch the kind of people that get upset because the gravity is wrong.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Well, you just have to set, like, what the rules are, don't you, from the outset? So we've got, like, they're walking around on the deck and there's gravity on the ship.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But that would be hugely expensive to not have, right?
Yeah.
Which I don't quite understand, because the ship's got these big spinning arms on it, which sort of say that they're there to give the modules at the end of them some gravity. But the rest of the ship's got gravity because they're walking around on it.
Yeah. But it's kind of, I think it is that thing, isn't it? Just because Brian Cox was an advisor doesn't mean the whole thing makes absolute scientific sense.
No,
like, they just asked him a few, like, oh, is this bit all right? Is that bit all right? Like, it's kind of...
But also the physics. I mean, I think you'd probably be more involved in, like, the basic sort of... probably towards the end, like the more stellar physics sort of thing.
No, exactly. It's kind of...
It's quite an impressive ship, though.
Yeah. It's funny, I don't know, is there another genre of film where people get angry because it's not, like, realistic?
Probably like
historical stuff.
Like Titanic and stuff.
Yeah, okay. It's probably, but only really science fiction and historical films. People get that mad because there's something wrong. It's funny.
That's just the fandom of this sort of stuff, isn't there? Like, this is what people like, this kind of thing. They're the kind of people who like to be
angry
picky about stuff like that, isn't it, often?
Well, that's why there's, like, 10 pages on Jane Austen on Wikipedia and about 5,000 on the Enterprise.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
True. True.
But I thought the actual, like, design of the ship and the interior and the art direction was really cool.
I think the art direction's the best thing about the film. I think it looks really nice. Yeah,
I agree.
And you think it was only made for $40 million as well? I think the effects were really quite.
For some reason, I had in my head it was a lot less than that, but yeah, I looked it up. 40.
No, it looks. It looks more like it looks really high budget, doesn't it?
The only bit I don't like is when they, this whole notion of doing like a video blog. It's heavily used in sci-fi, isn't it? Of these this era, and it's just a trope I don't like. It's like,
I think that is one of many sci-fi cliches this film falls foul of. To be honest,
that's the only sort of bit I don't like, and I don't like that sort of. There's like a background sort of like holographic image behind the people when they're doing their.
Oh yeah.
That's really noisy. So what we got? We got like a cool little holodeck they've got, which is quite cool.
Oh yeah, that is good.
So you can see, the waves. I think the music's quite classy in this film.
Obviously, you thought the music was good because you gave it to Sam to listen.
I think bits of the music are good. I think there's not enough score. The fact they use that one piece twice.
Yeah.
You know, the big, whatever it's called, something in D minor.
I think you can do that. I think you can do a callback.
But not as like, I don't know, because it feels so much like a climactic piece of music, doesn't it? And then they do it again. And because you already know the beats of where that song's going.
Yes. Yeah.
Just seems a bit silly, but
yeah.
I like the there's like a very like ambient sort of piece that plays towards the start of the film quite a lot. I like that one. That's really good.
So it becomes apparent that there's been another ship which was lost.
Icarus 1.
Yeah, Icarus 1, which I forgot that Chris Evans was in this.
Yeah, it's a pretty good cast, to be honest. Everyone's pretty good.
Yeah, and they've actually got quite distinct characters, which is quite cool. You know, they're like Chris Evans's character is always like about the logic. Like at every point in the plot, he goes for the most logical answer, even if it's not particularly popular.
I got to disagree because I think Chris Evans is the only character who's got any sort of definition to him. I think the rest of them are just nobodies. Like, there's no sort of.
Well, like I say, the Doctor is like quite weird because he's kind of almost the most like unhinged one of the whole crew. Like he seems to be kind of weird from the beginning. Like he's a bit obsessed with the sun and like I don't know. He seems like he shouldn't be the psychiatrist really. At all.
Yeah.
And
how long has it taken to get to where they are in the film? We see them. How long have they left?
I think it was.
Do we know?
Didn't he say it was like 6 years or 3 years or something?
I don't know. I know it's 7 years since the first mission, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I just wondered if, like, you know, because it's that sort of alien thing of like paranoia and stuff, isn't it? They're all going a bit crazy. Yeah. But how long have they been in there to get like that?
And they don't have cryogenics, do they? Like in Aliens.
No.
No, they've just got to put up with it.
I mean, in some ways, I think they put like quite in real life. They'd use quite like neutral character people. They wouldn't have strong.
The captain's a bit. He's a bit bland, isn't he?
Yeah. But I think that'd be more realistic than because they're in the astronaut sort of community. So we get to they sort of flag a few items like the computer has to stay in its little cooling thing. Well, that fucks up. They watch Mercury go across the sun, which is quite a nice moment, I think. I think there's some nice little scenes. There's an interesting one where Benny Wong fucks up as they change course to the new ship. And then I think he says he fucks up about 15 times.
I fucked up.
Yeah.
Which obviously then they get into that. You sort of see the shield damaged, and then they sort of come to terms with the fact that they have to go and repair it.
Is that when they get in the big pimping space suits?
Then we see the first sort of space suits, and I think they're really cool.
They're really cool. I really like them. Do you know what one of the inspirations for their suit was?
Oh, like a welding mask or something?
Kenny from South Park.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
That was a design reference for the funnel-shaped hood. Yeah, so there you go. How weird's that? They deliberately intended them to make memorable. Like they did it deliberately to make something distinctive and memorable. Like that was like they were like, we want to make something that's a kind of an iconic suit, and I think they succeed. You don't really see anything else like that, and also it does kind of make sense why it looks like that as well. Like, why it's big and cumbersome and why it's reflective. Like it's not just like, it's a cool suit. It does actually work as a design, scientifically. I guess
it has to like shield you from lots of radiation and
yeah.
And you get lots of nice excuses to have the sun bouncing off the gold, don't you? And lots of nice like shiny shots.
Yeah,
but nice. Also just the silhouette of it is quite cool, isn't it? It's just it's just an interesting shape.
No, like you said, Sam, it's a good looking film. It's a film that looks good.
It also looks it has that suiting thing. They look like the sort of 70s films, like 2001 and Solaris, stuff like that. You can see they're kind of aping that look, but like not just copied it, they've sort of modernised it in a way, haven't they? Which is good.
Yeah.
Sort of,
yeah.
But it's good having like bold design, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just in general.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Even if it isn't like technically the best way of doing something, it makes up for just being bold and
it makes it more interesting. Yeah, it stands out. I mean, like Sam said, there are quite a lot of tropes in this. There's a lot of stuff that you're a bit like, I think I've seen that before, and it gets more like that as it goes on. But like, at least you can say there are things that make it different. It's identifiable as that film rather than just like, oh, I can't even remember what film that's from.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it gets to the point where I guess if someone's making a film like this, it might be your only chance to do some of these things, like Danny Boyle, like. So you're gonna have fun.
Yeah.
So then they have to like tilt the shield, so there's a little bit in the shade, so they can go and repair it.
Oh yeah, forgot that bit. Yeah.
And that in turn. What I like about this, you can see like the little steps of how things can go wrong from something small. Like it can cascade and become a major thing. Where they were going all hunky-dory at one point and just like a decision is made. So them little communications arms go out into the sun. They blow up. And in the course of this scene, it also destroys all the greenhouse.
Oh yeah. Michelle Yeoh's greenhouse.
Yeah. So they're out on the shield repairing that. So that's you start to see that's quite a cool scene. I like how there's like this landscape now, like this very like it's like they've landed on a different planet, like made up of like mirror, which is quite cool.
No, it's well done. Like the effects look pretty good on that.
That set is pretty cool. Whatever that, how they all like layer up the mirrors in that's a pretty cool thing. And then so shit starts to go wrong. The ship tries to orientate itself back, so the sun is basically going to burn the two guys. But I think then Chris Evans comes up with the logical solution of that's the best thing again. An event, basically the captain dies.
Yeah.
Gets burnt up. Cillian Murphy barely survives, but they fix the shield. But they've got no oxygen now. Not enough for them all to live. So, yeah. And then we see another part of the ship, which is quite cool, which is like inside the bomb.
Oh, yeah. That's huge, isn't it?
Yeah. He actually looks like Brian Cox in this, doesn't he?
Do you think that was like, oh, I'll do it, but make the main guy look a bit like me? Yeah.
How many of these bombs do you think it would actually take to reignite the sun?
Millions.
So many, yeah.
It's billions.
Billions. Oh,
yeah.
My God. Wow. Yeah. So there'd be a lot more ships flying to the sun.
Well, I'm not sure it's a case. Reigniting the sun is not like a thing, because it's just turning like lower elements into higher elements, isn't it? Just turning like it's just turning like hydrogen and helium by burning it into higher elements. That's what the sun does. So unless you just put more of them things in, you can't reignite it.
Yeah. Wouldn't there be better to make another sun, or is that impossible too?
This is from the New Scientist review of Sunshine. The sun is powered by the equivalent of 4 billion H-bombs exploding every second, which gives it a feel for what we need to replace its heat source if it was failing. Yeah.
Damn it. Okay.
It'd be better just putting like something smaller in orbit around the Earth, wouldn't you? Because we're only getting a minutest percentile of...
Yeah, totally.
A big heater.
Yeah.
Isn't there a film that does that?
Ooh.
Maybe.
Or is it a book I've read that has another artificial sun in the sky?
Oh, that sounds cool.
There's definitely something.
Nuke the moon to make it into a sun.
Yeah.
There's the whole thing of like, I read a scientific like breakdown of the film and how I know we've got like we're discovering new sort of materials all the time and cool materials, but the sunshade on this ship would have to be like 100% efficient, which is kind of impossible because no material is 100% efficient. So basically, what I'm saying is like the heat it hits it.
Yeah.
It'd have to transfer zero energy back into the spaceship. It would have to reflect all of it.
So if it was just 1%, it would destroy it.
Well, yeah, because there's equivalent of like hundreds of nuclear bombs hitting the front of it every second. So even 1%, if like 0.5% went back into the spaceship would be being hit by a nuke every second.
You think that this really should be an unmanned ship
mission?
This kind of
that wouldn't necessarily help because the spaceship would still be getting hit by a nuke every second.
Okay, yeah, true. But just the human element seems like maybe it was. Yeah, we should have taken that out. Maybe, I don't know.
Also, you know how like the Icarus 1 went up before 7 years ago and then went missing?
Yeah.
Is the idea that was the exact same idea as what they're doing now?
Yeah, I think it's just a facsimile ship. Yeah.
You think they think, well, we should try something a little different if it didn't work before.
Yeah.
We don't know why it didn't work.
Yeah, it's a big risk.
Like you say, like maybe not send the crew with it or something like that.
It's a big risk.
It's a bit weird.
I mean, if they put all their resources together to build one of the ships, they're already set up probably to get economy of scale to build a second one.
Yeah. It literally is like, I think they say it's like the very end, isn't it? They've got to do it right now, otherwise it's too late.
Yeah.
They've used all. They said they've used all of the fissile material on the Earth.
Yeah. So, like, what kind of life are you setting up for everyone left down there?
Yeah. You've got nothing. You can't even build.
I just want to use solar power.
Yeah.
No more nukes, so it's pretty good.
Yeah.
I bet they kept some aside for some nukes. Yeah, so they basically reach the other ship, and then they dock with it.
Yep.
And then they board, and then you get like these little flash frames of people's faces, and which I think is quite spooky and quite cool.
Well,
it's a quite cool thing to do, I think.
It is, but isn't this basically where the whole film self-destructs?
Yep.
Not for me.
Okay, well, for me, it definitely does. Because
I was barely on board to this point, but after this, I was like, what am I watching?
Yeah.
Why? What is it? Because it's trying to go into like a horror genre now or something?
Yes.
It just completely fails.
Yeah, I don't think that this film... I think the whole beginning is quite good and I was on board, but this whole horror subplot, I don't think works. I don't think they've done anywhere near enough... anywhere near enough to kind of earn it. It just feels almost like they were trying to make... It's like they made two different films and then edited them together a bit. And I just don't...
Yeah.
And I mean, I think it's telling that, number one, there was 35 drafts of this film that Alex Garland wrote. And also that Alex Garland and Danny Boyle both really, really disagreed on what this film was about.
Yeah,
and then,
I read that.
Yeah, he wanted it to be like about meeting God and atheism and like a love letter to psychological science fiction. And Danny Boyle, had like a completely different interpretation. And Garland remarks that they had reached the same two interpretations that could be made from the world around us. Alex Garland's script heavily featured notions of God and atheism that Danny Boyle chose to downplay to help the film find an audience. So I think that because they both worked together a lot, and they're both strong characters. They're both well renowned. You know, and I think it's a case where you've got two people with two different ideas, and
I think they're both valid arguments.
Yeah, but I think it's two people with two different ideas, and I don't know if it made a coherent one film. Maybe
I think as well, like, I think it kind of shows why you shouldn't do two genres. It's basically two films, isn't it? It's this first like 2001 film, then it's a horror film.
Yeah,
but the reason horror films work is because they last for at least an hour and a half, and they build up the suspense and they pay off the suspense in a big way.
Yeah.
the idea that this pinbacker appears, we don't know who he is or what he's doing, and just is slashing about at people, you just think, what's going on?
Yeah.
It's just rubbish.
And also,
and also, I just think it's really, really poorly directed from this point on as well. I don't think he's a horror director at all.
No. And it's weird,
we'll get to that.
Because you've got the character, like I said, that doctor character who's obsessed with the son. He's a bit of an oddball. Why isn't he anything to do with Pinbacker? Why isn't he like a disciple of Pinbacker? Or why isn't he go mad like Pin? He just dies, doesn't he? The doctor just dies, and he's not.
And you're also setting up that Chris Evans is so logical, and we think he's kind of crap at the start, but he goes good. But really, he's the counterbalance to that sort of thing, isn't it? Because I mean, Cillian Murphy's character kind of just vanishes into he's the hero, but what's his?
Yeah, what's his? He's just a bit of a wet blanket.
Well, I think he's being like dragged along for the ride a bit, isn't he? Kind of in quite. I think in a quite a valid character sense. I mean, I think that's a valid character type because I think the audience, they're trying to get the audience with Cillian Murphy. I'm not sure they do it successfully enough, but
no.
Because in some ways, I'm kind of with Chris Evans a lot of the time.
I think he's the only character you can root for because he's got a consistent worldview, and it kind of makes sense. Even if he's been a bit sort of harsh about things, like there's a bit we're coming up to where Chris Evans says, "Oh, we've got to go and kill Wong, Benedict Wong, because he's useless and we haven't got enough oxygen." And they ask Cillian Murphy, and he just goes like, "Oh yeah, we should definitely do that." But like, why is his character saying that? We don't, he's not showing any signs that that's his sort of opinion. He's just been quiet, doing nothing for so long.
But they say that in a psychological sense, that is actually kind of that is the fallback position of most people's psyche, is when something wrong's going to happen, but you kind of just let it, like, no one will stand up in a group.
But then that
might be true from a scientific point of view, but from a story point of view, it just makes him a weak character. I think.
Like you say, that it makes Chris Evans the hero, and he isn't really the hero, is he? Like,
well, I think he's probably the most valuable player in all of this.
Yeah, I think him and Cillian Murphy are the heroes, aren't they? Because he dies to save them, doesn't he? I suppose.
Yeah. So they're looking around the Icarus. There's these like flash frames. It's a bit spooky because it's all covered in dust. And then they find the dead crew. So they're wandering around.
It looks untouched, doesn't it? Which also makes no sense because Pinbacker's been living there for 7 years.
Yeah.
Well, I think he's just been hanging out in the sun, hasn't he?
Just in that sunroom, just all the time.
Yeah, it's just been on the sun deck.
What's he been eating, or like?
I think he's been just eating rations.
He took them all to the sunroom.
Their greenhouse is pretty thriving, right?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. But why does he go mad?
Because he has a psychological breakdown, which can probably happen in these sort of scenarios.
But why does this film need a character that has a psychological breakdown? Like, why does this film need this? Did they not think that they had enough of a plot or enough of a... Like, isn't it enough that they just go into the sun to try and ignite it, and there are issues in the ship, and they've got conflict with the crew?
Well, I thought it shows how, like, you can have a brilliant plan, but, like, there's still a really weak link in the whole lot of it, and that's, like, the crew.
Yeah, but the weak link is an insane madman aboard another ship.
From a different ship,
a different ship that they happen to go to. If they just avoided the other ship...
But maybe their weakness was that they showed compassion in the sense that they wanted to go, and I know they explain like the logic of why they were going to the second ship.
Yeah.
Just for the story's sense, but there's still that innate. They should have just stayed on the course and done their own job.
Yeah.
Why are they getting involved?
Yeah, that's true.
And I think that's kind of like the human weakness in a sense, and that could have fucked up the whole thing.
I think.
Did you read... Sorry, Alex, go on.
No, I was just going to say, there's a film that we're doing next week that was made, how many years before this? 10 years before this? And I think this film copies the second half of this film. I think the first half of Sunshine is original and interesting. I think the second half of this film rips the living crap out of Event Horizon, and that is why it's not a good film. Because I
don't think the first half of the film's original either. It's ripping out 2001 and other stuff. Pinbacker is named after Pinback from Dark Star.
Yeah.
Have you seen Dark Star?
Yeah.
And they say like he's based on that character, but he's nothing like Pinback that's not the character at all, is it?
No.
Maybe it was on the script or early editions.
Yeah, well, if he's had 35 rewrites, it's... I mean, I thought...
It seems a really odd reference to make.
I thought he was called Pinbacker because it's a reference to Pinhead, because that's a reference to Hellraiser, because Event Horizon is references Hellraiser. So I thought it was like a weird, like, double, like, chain of references backwards. That's what I thought it was, but, yeah.
And then, mysteriously, the ships decouple.
Oh, yeah.
And you get this cool scene now where they're stuck on one side of the... I like this, the stuff in this film I think is quite good. Like the technicalities of why they can't do something and they have to do it in one way and not another way.
Yeah.
Like, they can't open a door without... what I can't remember why. They can't blow the door because they need someone to stay behind and pull the handle or something.
Yeah, no,
that's all broken. So they've got to. Yeah, that's. And they've got to use the depressurized to launch them back.
Yeah, but I like this bit as well where the captain is kind of a bit more selfish, isn't he? And there's this. I think this is a really good scene where he's telling him to get out of the suit.
Oh yeah.
And they all then decide to wrap themselves in the tinfoil instead. And I mean, I think this is quite scientifically good, and I think it's got a nice tension and a nice, like, you can tell how the captain's being illogical and
this is probably the most fun set piece of the film. Flying back across the gap and him hitting the edge of the thing and being sent just slightly off course and it looks nice. And it's quite original.
And then he ends up dying anyway, which is obviously a nice little motif. He freezes. And then they finally get back, and he goes. He floats outside of the shield, and you see him burn up as well. So that character really gets what's coming to him there. And then they have a little conversation about whether they should kill Benny Wong.
Yeah.
And then they go and find out Benny's killed himself anyway.
And the computer is, which has been quite useful to now, is completely useless in the sense that when they go, we're down to enough people now to survive, and the computer's like, no, you're not.
Yeah.
What do you mean? You're not. What do you mean?
Yeah.
There's not enough people. What do you mean? There's 5 people. Like, surely the computer, as soon as that guy came on board, the computer should be like, warning, there's somebody on board who shouldn't be here.
Yeah. It's like it's...
And then, like, the conversation, like, has to, like, really, like, pull this information out of the computer in a really weird way of, like, it makes no sense for the AI to work like this. It should just say, there's someone on board.
Yeah.
It's on the DVD commentary, which has Danny Boyle and Brian Cox on it. So that'd probably be quite an interesting commentary. They disagree about whether Benedict Wong committed suicide or not.
Oh, right.
Because there's...
Who else killed him?
That Pinbacker could have killed him. Because it's basically when they open the drawer, there are 2 scalpels missing. But what it says is... So it could be that Pinbacker did it and faked it as a suicide. But then what this says is... That seems unrealistic. When Pinbacker just runs around slashing at people, why would he then at that point have this big, like, I'm going to make a whole scenario look like a suicide? Like, he's mental. He's not going to do that. So
it is within the character of Benny Wong's character to have killed himself.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Do you know what I thought was going on with those 2, the scalpel thing? Because Chris Evans goes to get on those, doesn't need to kill BD Wong.
Yeah.
No, it's not BD Wong, it's Benedict Wong. And my mind was going everywhere now, and I was like, maybe the Pinback is Chris Evans from like the future or something. He's come back to like finish the job or something. I was getting all excited, thinking, this is going to go in some really crazy place, and that's why he's got the scalpel, because this is what cool. It's him.
Yeah,
but it wasn't.
No,
I mean, it makes no sense. But the plot they've got doesn't make any sense either. But I thought it'd been a weird twist to go in that direction. But
it'd have been a good twist.
Yeah. Yeah. So. I think that little like crew count twist is it's probably quite laborious how it's told between the computer and the But anyway, then you start getting some more of these flash frames, which I'm a fan of. I think it's quite cool. Just because how they are, the colour of them.
It's a well coloured film. I'll give you that. I like that. There's good colour palettes. He sticks to that, like the look of it. Yeah, I mean, that is. But it's
Do you not think maybe they ran out of money and couldn't show any good set pieces? So they had to just do these sort of flash things to show they couldn't do anything else.
Well, I mean, again,
that's the impression I got.
Reading, Danny Boyle found working on sci-fi projects so exhausting he vowed never to make another one again. So maybe by that point he was editing. He's like, fucking throw some of that red shit in. Like, that'll do.
Yeah.
Who cares? Yeah, he was probably maybe a little bit like exhausted by it. Maybe, I don't know.
I mean, the whole slasher bit to me, it's either incoherent or boring. That's the kind of the two bits going on for the end of the film.
Yeah. I'm with you on that. Yeah.
I don't like how, when the computer gets pulled out of its like cooling thing, they do a real like naff thing of where it just slows down the voice of it.
Oh yeah.
Like do.
Yeah.
I hate that. But
yeah, it's so cheesy.
It's just accepted now, I think, that is a thing. I just fucking hate that. I hate it.
It's just 2001, isn't it? Like, it's just grabbing at references all over the place. You've got some Dark Star, some Solaris, some 2001, you know.
Yeah, I can't throw stones. And then, so Chris Evans sort of tries to do a good job. Gets frozen.
Poor Chris Evans.
Yeah. And then the spacesuits come out again.
Yep.
And the music comes back, the same music.
Oh, yeah, epic music. Cillian Murphy is stuck in the airlock, so he gets himself out by decompressing the whole ship, which I think is quite a good scene. A little bit. It's, you do get, I think, it's sold all of that.
But they've done it once already, haven't they? They did it halfway through the film. This is just like the bit where the captain dies. They've already done it.
When the music starts up, and you know the bit where he's like falling over in the spacesuit and he's really, he's crying and he's working hard. I think that builds very nicely. I think you can really feel the.
I think the soundtrack is literally hammering that like drum to try and get you to feel some emotion, because you can't empathise with the character. You barely know his motivations.
Yeah,
and
then we end up on the. In the bomb set, which I think is quite a cool set.
Yeah.
Like this big cubic.
Yeah, it looks nice.
Cubic set.
Looks lovely.
The size of Manhattan, they say. Or the mass of Manhattan Island. I don't know if that's the same as the size. And then, so you got to see this 3-dimensional sort of where he's falling along one edge. I think is quite cool. When he goes over the edge, he falls and he ends up in the centre.
Yeah.
That's quite cool. And then he blows the bomb. And you sort of see his little message back home to the Sydney Opera House.
Yeah. Which is all snowed in or something, isn't it?
All snowed in Sydney Opera House.
Yeah.
But the sun is back working again.
Oh, yeah.
I just... And because we did this a long time ago, didn't we? We were going to do these last Halloween, weren't we? These films,
yeah.
And I've got my notes, and I've written my version of what should happen in the whole film.
Okay.
It's not much different, but I think that I am right with my changes. So see what you think. So the Doctor makes everyone review the transmissions from Mark Strong on Icarus 1 from the start, so they know what to expect from the mission. The Doctor becomes obsessed with the Sun and Mark Strong and his messages, and he gets weirder and he exposes himself to the Sun more. So then when they take the detour to Icarus 1, it's the Doctor is kind of pushing, we should go there, because he wants to go, because he wants to see what happened. They go on board, everyone is dead, but there's a different accident where the Doctor ends up staying on board, but you're not sure whether he escaped or not. Same bit about sedated guy being saboteur and killing himself. Then only Cillian, Rose, Chris and Michelle left. Michelle finds growth in oxygen gun and locks herself in, try and get more oxygen. Then the twist is that there's an extra person on board. However, actually 2 people on board, because the Doctor and Mark Strong, because they've killed Michelle Yeoh. Cue lots of weird dialogue from Strong about God and Doctor agreeing with him. And there's a big fight and Cillian and Rose versus the Doctor and Strong. And then they kill them and then the bomb and that's it. So my main addition is that the Doctor becomes more of a conduit, because he's going mad. He goes mad like Pinbacker went mad. So he's almost like making them... It's a bit more like Event Horizon, to be honest.
It's kind of like, you just tweaked.
I've tweaked it, but I think I've made it better.
It makes more sense what you're saying, definitely, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Danny Boyle, if you're listening, you can maybe re-edit it. The science fiction rating system edition. You could do a special cut with my suggestions.
And then you can make Pinbacker be Chris Evans from the future.
I like how it is.
Throw that in.
I like how it is.
Yeah. So you're a fan, Chris, is that what you're saying? All the way through?
Overall, you like
it's great.
All the way
you
through?
You think it's great?
Yeah, it's great. It's a great film.
Really?
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
You don't think
I hadn't seen it for ages, but I actually really enjoyed it. It's quite bold. It's got very bold scenes. It's very distinctive how things look. I know you're saying, the first bit's like one sort of film, the second bit goes into a slasher. I'm not saying it's not weird, but it's like you kind of need to set up the normality of things before things go, into a horror or into something else. I just think... and I do like how they've done something with the sun and made it such a weird, like, religious, and you can almost... I remember when I saw this at the cinema, like, the light, when they show them shots of the sun, you can almost, like, you feel heat just by seeing the light and the... Yeah. It's quite... I think it's interesting.
Yeah.
Should I give my overall view?
Go, Sam. Go.
I like the look of it. I like the idea that the sun needs reigniting. But other than that, I think it's absolutely dreadful. I think it's terrible. I think it's poorly directed. I think I think he's realised he's not got a film there, and so all these like awful fast chopping around cuts, all just like boring still shots of dialogue are terrible. I think the script is abysmal. I think as I said, no one other than Chris Evans makes sense as a character. The first half of the film is so flat and boring. There's no life or humour in how they talk to each other, and which is fine. You can have a drab film that hasn't got that, but you need to like double down on that and make this sort of a very serious sort of like a war film sort of vibe to it. You don't get that. You just get just boring, no note characters. The switching to slash film makes no sense for me. Pinbacker is a nothing character. The idea that the sun is a religious thing, fantastic, but show me that. Write something about that. Don't just bring out this stupid Michael Myers-esque character who makes no sense. Like, show why he thought the sun was religious, why that was what he was doing in his time. What's he done for 7 years, other than apparently not move much because there's dust everywhere. They use the big set piece twice, which isn't very good the first time, is meaningless to me the second time, and I absolutely hated it. I thought it was terrible. And I'm not surprised because, to be honest, Danny Boyle to me is a hack. I don't like any Danny Boyle films.
I'm not a big Danny Boyle fan, to be honest. This is the only one of his films I like.
I think the first 45 minutes, 28 Days Later is a good film, and
some good ideas in 28 Days Later. Again, like some quite innovative things.
But I think it's not great
in the way it's made, in a sort of because I don't like zombie films.
It's a good production department. The end. That's it. Alex, do you want to do your overall?
Yeah, I'm not as harsh as you, but I do think it's very, very flawed, and I just feel like I say, I just feel like it's two films that have been bolted together, and I agree, it's not justified. I think there's some interesting ideas there, but they just don't go with them. And I wish it had either gone one way or the other. It should have been an all-out horror about the sun, and you get mad because of that, and all of that, or it should have just been an all-out science fiction film, like hard science, where it's more about like Chris is right, those minute details of we adjusted this a tiny bit wrong, but it had this huge effect. Like, that's interesting to me. It's like a really difficult mission, and then it could have been more somber, more serious, more hard sci-fi, kind of like what The Martian was trying to be, I guess. Or it should have been all-out horror.
There's a lot of The Martian in this for me. Yeah, I think. How different steps keep going wrong, and
I don't like The Martian though. I do agree. There's some good design in it, and
I guess I'm more of a fan of like stuff.
Yeah.
So
I just think
it's just space stuff. So if it's got that, I'm caught sort of 50% there.
Yeah, it's just very flawed. I think it's very, very flawed. Yeah. But it does look nice. I think having it on in the background, looking at it, would be good.
Yeah.
But flawed film.
Not flawed film. I think it's great.
Where are you putting it then?
Should we rank it then?
Yeah. Go. Chris should go first.
So I'm just getting up the old list here to see where we're at. Where are we? Right, I reckon somewhere around 31.
88.
Oh, fuck off. 88.
How can you like?
Oh, sorry, no, 89. I prefer Deep Blue Sea.
Oh my god! Wow.
Deep Blue Sea was at least fun. This was just boring and drab and forgettable.
There's some real crap on here, like.
Crap I'd rather watch, though. I would never watch this again. It was awful. It was so awful. It's just devoid of any sort of emotion or feeling or... No, in fact, it's worse than that because it's not even devoid of emotion. It rams that theme down your throat to try and make you feel something. It's like desperately saying to you, come on, feel for Cillian Murphy.
Is got an issue with that.
Yeah. I've got
an issue with everything.
Can I change my... birthday
No, you can't. Not till next year.
No, not till next year.
Alex, where do you want to put it?
I'd say like around about like around like Island Dr. Moreau, them area. Where's that? That's like late 50s.
59.
Yeah, around that
59,
area.
60.
Because I think you do get into kind of badly made films there, but this is a bit badly made, but half of it isn't badly made.
But with they got some interesting ideas. And
I do.
This has got some interesting ideas in. How can you say this hasn't got interesting ideas or like
but it's just
some really good iconic things and designs and ways things are shown?
Designs, but I think ideas. It steals everything from somewhere else, doesn't it?
Actually, under collective invention.
65.
Yeah. Sorry, I liked that. That was that was very original. I thought, and I like Real Steel. So yeah, I think Sorry, Chris. It's a very flawed film. It's half a good film, and even then, that half isn't that good. Isn't amazing. Yeah, it's not like wow. No, it's not.
It's like a forgettable 2001 ripoff, and then it's crap.
Yeah, sorry. So what's that then? What's in the middle of those three scores, or is Chris going to try and make us go higher? I mean,
no, because you guys are pretty set on what you think. I think but you are both wrong. It doesn't get around, it doesn't make what I think any less because you both think negatively.
But don't you think it needs more of a story there?
Yeah.
Don't you think it needs something more than just looking nice?
I think it's got adequate story.
Yeah. Chris was on board. He didn't need any more.
No. So we've got 88.
And I say I'm not a Danny Boyle fan by any stretch of the imagination. I think his films actually only work on one level. His films.
I'm surprised. I thought you would like.
This is one of his only films and might have a secondary level involved.
So I don't think it has. I think it's just that again. It's just this is now he's gone. Oh, I want to make a big brash sci-fi film, and then halfway through he's thought, no, I want to make a horror film.
Yeah. I thought you wouldn't like all the horror bit so much. I thought you'd be like, I like the beginning a lot, and I didn't like the horror so much, and that's why you think it was. But it seems that the horror stuff didn't sway your.
Well, I do. It's not my favourite part when it starts turning into like a slasher sort of film.
But you're still behind it, really. You were still all right with it.
But I like the build-up of like insurmountable problems, and I think that is really well told. And I know it's not a really strong character, Cillian Murphy's character, but I don't even know his name.
No,
exactly.
But I know that that'd be quite a realistic character, and I think I'm kind of with him when things sort of deteriorate.
It's called Robert Capa.
Yeah, Capa. Yeah,
Capa. Do you know that there was supposed to be a romantic subplot between and sex scenes?
Yeah, I read that.
Yeah. But it was.
Well, you could kind of see there was something.
Yeah.
Which had been cut or not flushed out.
And didn't he say he cut that because it was like too cheasy or anything? Then, you're not watching your own film. Yeah. It's already super embarrassing.
He burns.
Yeah. He thought the idea of a relationship in space was too embarrassing.
Yeah.
So yes, suck that, Solaris, or any other film that has people having a relationship in space, which have all some quite successful films about people having relationships in space. So
I think the problem with that though, like, is that's the problem with this sort of it being so close to reality, is that like in Alien and things like that, they're like deep space truckers basically, aren't they? Who are out on the road for years and years.
Yeah.
And so the fact they have breakdowns, relationships and stuff, that like makes sense. And you can so you can see why they steered away from that.
Yeah.
But then you think, well, you've got this crazy ass pinbacker guy, and you've got everyone kind of falling out on the crew. But you're not going to actually commit to this idea that they have been in space for years and gone mad. It didn't seem to like understand what it was trying to say about that.
No, I agree.
I disagree.
All right, well, so 31's the highest, 88's the lowest. So what, Alex? You said 61, didn't you? 60.
Underneath collective invention. No, that's 61.
So that's 65. I mean, are you happy with 65, Chris? I'm not happy with that. I think it's too high. I'm guessing you think it's too low, don't you? So,
well, it'll be going in my ones next year.
Yeah, you've got to wait a whole year. Wow.
Yeah. So
you'd accept 65 for now.
Buckle up, you're going to be watching this one again, lads. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, he's not happy.
Right, so it goes into 65.
Sunshine is the new. It's the new Independence Day, isn't it? It's not happy. He's not happy at all.
Yeah, well, I'm not happy either. It should be way further down. Right, Danny Boyle's Sunshine. A contentious choice. Probably the most contentious one we've had in a long time, that is, I think. I bet we've not had a span like that before, have we? That gap in terms of like 50 places like worth of gap.
No, we normally
should be like we should have like a focus sort of, to show the span,
the range
on each one, the range. I don't know what you call that in statistics.
I think it's called the span, isn't it? And that is a term.
We should have paid more attention in statistics.
Yeah, we should have.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the ones where we agreed are higher, really higher rated, because we all agreed
the deviation.
On it.
Yeah. Deviation. Nice. Spread.
Yeah.
Brill. Okay.
The error bar.
We better go back in the past. Oh no, we can't because I couldn't find those clips. So no past.
No, right.
Couldn't you?
It's Event Horizon
right here.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So that was Sunshine. What we got next week? Do we know? Yeah.
Event Horizon. We're sort of doing a loose like horror trilogy, aren't we?
Yeah.
Although we've missed Halloween.
We missed Halloween.
But never
At least
mind.
we did them.
Tough shit.
Spooky November.
Just remember this podcast is free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stop complaining.
If you don't like it.
Yeah.
And
Save these
I think
episodes for
you
next
know
year,
who you are, who we're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah, you know.
Yeah, we've had some feedback, haven't we, Sam?
Oh yeah, I mean, I don't want to really.
Don't give him the time of day,
give him the
mate.
time of day, no.
Okay.
Steve Austin.
Yeah, you know
who
you are.
complained about our treatment of Americans in the episode Time Crimes.
Yeah. Well, when he gets his podcast, he can talk about Americans in whatever way he wants to talk about.
It was because of that. It was because of the quiz that we did about the
quiz. That was
about the. But to be honest, it was their answers. I didn't make that quiz up. It was.
It's not our fault. They're stupid.
It's on the internet. You can all go and read it. So, okay, hold on. Oh dear. Oh dear.
I'll double down on it. I think if you go back and listen to that quiz, I got most of those questions right, and if my views weren't correct, then I would have got them wrong, wouldn't I?
It's true.
So it must be some truth to my opinion.
Very true. Very true.
Right. Okay then, lads, that was very enjoyable.
Yeah.
You got some social media shit to talk about?
Well, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, SF Rating System, all three of them. And then Science Fiction Rating System is the website, and sciencefictionratingsystem@gmail.com is the email. Send us your thoughts. Did you agree with Chris? Did you agree with Sam? Did you agree with me on Sunshine?
I think there'll be a bit of Sunshine love out there.
You think?
You think?
Let the sun shine.
We'll see. Yeah, if you enjoyed Sunshine, please let us know because
Yeah.
At the minute, Chris is an anomaly.
Yeah. Yeah, he is.
Brilliant.
Cool. All right then. Well, we'll say cheerio. Cheerio from Alex.
Bye.
And from Sam.
Bye-bye.
And from me. Goodbye.